Hey, it's Don Taylor with Franchise Success Partners, and today we're visiting with my good friend, Zach Beutler. Zach has been in franchising for a long time, and he's really seen all aspects of this. He's been a franchisee. He's worked on the development side with a group that really helped take emerging franchise brands and get them straightened out and help them grow like crazy. Now he's on the franchisor side with Horsepower Brands. And that too is a group that's growing like crazy. And so without further ado, Zach, welcome and thanks for joining us this morning.
Great to be here. Miss you, Don.
I hate the fact that I only get to see you across the computer screen now, but hopefully soon we'll be back in person.
Absolutely.
Zach, take a couple minutes and walk us through your background. It's pretty unique.
Yeah, so I got exposed to franchising at a very young age. I got out of high school, went to college, and my first job was a part-time salesman at a nutrition store. And the gentleman that started those nutrition stores had some of the top grossing GNCs in North America in the Midwest of the United States. And so he was forced to sell those back. He started this company, and I was right there at the beginning. There was no franchises at that time, and everybody quit. And I was the only person there, so I became the manager, and I was good at it. And quickly, when I was 18, I was running the top location out of all 5 corporate stores. They began franchising, and I wanted to be a franchisee. So I convinced the founder to co-sign an SBA loan, and I moved to Tallahassee, Florida at 21 and opened my first business. And did really well right away. Did over $1 million first year in business. Grew to 7 stores within 23 months, was doing almost $8 million in revenue. And then, there was a really young guy. The industry changed really quickly with Amazon getting into the mix, and I ended up losing everything. I was personally guaranteed on all the leases, and it was one of the best, but yet hardest experiences of my life. And ended up partnering with another gentleman who still had 10 locations. And I'll never forget, I negotiated equity, but my salary was $22,500. And I calculated every dollar I had to live on. And that was a smart move. We added 58 locations, I think, or we got up to 68 locations total in 3 years. And I did that for about a decade. And then I ended up really needing something different. So I sold my equity there and then started at a franchise development company. And I was the first hire. And my now business partner, Josh Skolnick, Monster Tree Service was the first brand. So there I had a lot of experience building out franchise brands that were all emerging, had less than 10 locations, and getting them to 100 as quickly as we could ethically. And Josh and I, there's just certain people that you meet that you're, I would say, destined to work with. And Josh and me are those people together. So we actually started our own company called Horsepower Brands, where we now acquire or merge with young franchise brands or just normal companies, and we create franchises. And Mighty Dog Roofing is the first brand that we've done that together. We launched that in January 2021, and we have over 100 locations as of today in August.
Wow.
Of 2021. So we'll have our next few brands here launching shortly. So the experience that I have is kind of unique, I guess. I was part of a brand that grew its franchise system, was a franchisee, large unit franchisee, was in development, and now franchisor.
Yeah, you've seen all aspects of it. And I want to go back and touch on something you said, growing a brand ethically. I think that's a critical piece of the puzzle. And I love to hear you say that. You guys have been very successful. You do it the right way. And honestly, Zach, that's exactly why I wanted you to come on today and help me with this topic, which I get asked about a lot from my candidates. And that topic is, what should people be looking for in an emerging brand? And we've talked about this before. You had a handful of great points, and I was hoping you wouldn't mind sharing that with our audience today.
Yeah, so that's when you look at franchising, that's really my life. I've been part of an emerging brand all of my adult life. And there's definitely things that every brand should have. And some of this is this is just things I've learned and what you need to watch out for. But there's really 4 main points and then a bonus point that connects to me personally. But that first one is franchisor experience. And there's only one way to get experience. And my favorite quote is good decisions come from experience and experience comes from bad decisions. So you have to, when you're looking at franchises, you have to understand that franchisor was a mom and pop business at one time, and they decided to franchise, and they've never done this before. So until they have, 200 or so locations, they don't know what they're doing. And, you can read as many books as you want. You can watch as many videos as you want, but you still have to live that life. And so what most people don't understand is you need several $1 million to franchise your business correctly. And so when you're looking at those brands, it's important to understand what experience did they have prior. They can be the best person in that industry, but doesn't mean they know anything about franchising. And so what type of franchising experience does that founder or their leadership team have? Yeah. What type of capital do they have to grow the brand? So one of the things that we've always done is wherever we're currently at, we're typically looking out 2 to 3 times the size. So right now, we've awarded over 100 locations for Mighty Dog Roofing. We're approaching 30 employees with that brand. Wow. I think we have 10 operating locations as of today, and we're launching about, 5 to 10 a month every month. Wow. But to do that, we wouldn't be able to open all those locations correctly and provide support unless we really front load a lot of infrastructure.
Right.
This is the 3rd time that Josh and I have done this together. So the things to look at from a franchisor experience standpoint is what connections do they have in franchising? What kind of experience do they have? What does their leadership team look like and their current infrastructure? And it's very difficult to get the capital that's behind a brand, but it is important to understand, can they add 10, 15, or 20 employees at a whim if they start to grow aggressively? Do they have that type of capital? Because you really don't make any money on franchisees from a royalty perspective until they've been open for about a year.
Yeah. Selling them is one thing, right? Getting them open, that's where it's at.
And those are 2 different business models, Don. You can be if you just use roofing as an example, you can be the best roofing company out there, but that is still not the same business as operating a franchise or selling franchises. Yeah. So those are definitely different things. Yeah. But that's a big one, is just the experience. Number 2 is probably the most important to the franchisee, and that's customer acquisition. How am I going to get customers, and is the phone going to ring? Right. And so, Don, you've met with a lot of different brands, and we've been at conferences together. And again, you go back to that franchisor started their business 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, typically, and how they built their business and got customers when they were growing is not the same process that franchisees will use. So I saw this a lot when working with brands, is they said, we're going to do this money mailer, and we're going to get in the yellow pages and join these home shows. Is like, that's your strategy?
Right. Like a hope strategy.
Yep. So hope and pray, spend the money and hope it works. And so when you're looking at those brands, how well do they know the digital landscape? Do they speak the language? Are they, there's no such thing as, and this is what Josh and I believe, that CMOs, there's no position for those people anymore. There's so many different aspects of marketing, is you can't be an expert in all of them. Right. So we always look to have a marketing manager that is kind of a jack of all trades. And then we work with different vendors that are the best at Home Advisor, or the best at SEO, or the best at PPC, those type of things. But when you're working with those different emerging brands, there shouldn't be smoke and mirrors around advertising. They should be able to say, here's what we do, here's how we do it, and this is why it works. Yep. And when you look at SEO as an example, and so I'll pimp our brand a little bit, because that's one thing that we know well. But so when you go through our process, we're going to say, listen, most people don't understand that Home Advisors is a fantastic lead source if you can optimize it correctly. Right. On top of that, Home Advisor buys a lot of their leads from local microsites. So we went out and we created 100 different websites around roofing that generate leads, and we sell those leads to Home Advisor until a franchisee opens up. Then those leads go directly to that franchisee in that market.
Awesome. Love to hear that.
And I think we're the first franchisor to ever do that.
So smart. That's fantastic. I love to hear that.
Yep. And when you're looking at how well they know that that customer acquisition and marketing aspect, there's things to watch out for when you're looking at different brands. The website, as an example, there shouldn't be a fee for a microsite. Like, you shouldn't have to pay a residual fee every month just to have a backlinked page off of the corporate page. And a lot of franchisors get suckered into that by big companies where they're just cloning this page, cloning the next one, and they're charging you for it, which doesn't give you any value whatsoever.
Right.
So we give that for free because it doesn't cost us anything to just clone that microsite.
Yep.
But there's a lot of things that we do that are different, and we try to be innovative. But when you're looking at brands, it should be clear as day that you should have 100% confidence that they understand how to get the leads and that they're doing things that are innovative, because what works today in marketing is not always going to work tomorrow.
Yeah, you have to have a marketing machine. And like you mentioned earlier, this is measured success, right? It's not a hope strategy. This is exactly what we're doing and why. And here's how we measure this. That's when you know you're in the right situation to acquire customers.
I'm glad you led with that, because that's number 3. Data management. So what gets measured gets managed. So this always drove me crazy, Don, is, you talk to a brand and, they'd have 3 or 4 or 5 franchisees. You're like, oh, are they making money? Oh, they're making lots of money. They're doing really great.
Right.
Well, what are the numbers? Oh, we don't have those. We can get them though. I was like, then how do you know?
Right.
So that happens a lot. So when you're looking at brands, you really want to understand, if you need to get your average ticket or your close ratio or a major KPI, do you have to calculate that manually? Is it readily available? Can you pull that from the reports? Can you drill it down by individual employees, et cetera?
Right.
And on top of that, how do you measure your performance against the system? Is there tools that you can see how other people are doing, or where, key expenditures are, et cetera?
Mm-hmm.
And so we've always had a dashboard for our businesses where you log in and a franchisee can see their location compared to everybody else. And you see revenue, you can see KPIs, and we're actually about to add a layer of profitability into that would link to QuickBooks.
Awesome.
You can actually see profitability metrics along with that.
Quick thought on that. I love the fact that you mentioned you're adding another layer to your reporting function. And I think any franchisor that does this is on the right track, which is profitability, right? Respectfully, some franchisors don't care about that. It's almost like tax revenue from the government. They get royalties whether you're profitable or not. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that you guys are doing a deeper dive to understand, are they profitable? How profitable are they? That tells me you're going to focus on it and work on it and help build that aspect with them. You care about it. So good for you. And that is absolutely something to look for when you're vetting emerging brands.
The more profitable your franchisees are, the happier they will be.
That's right.
The more they will tell other people, and the easier it will be to award more locations in the future. So it is something you absolutely, from day one, you have to be concerned on. How do you get the franchisees cash flowing quickly, ramping up quickly, and get them a return on their investment quickly, all at the same time of making sure that your business is profitable as well. Number 4 is technology.
Okay.
So as a franchisor, you have to leverage technology to give yourself a advantage over competition. Yeah. So in this day and age, people are less trusting in a sales process. So you should be leveraging technology to outperform at least 50% of your competitors. Most franchise brands are in spaces where there's plenty of competition, which is good, which means it's a proven industry. But if you can beat out half the competition, that's enough to have a huge business.
Yeah. Great point.
So, for us, for an example, we have a autonomous drone that measures all of the roofs. It does an AI. It pulls a damage report on the roof based with AI technology. So it calculates granular loss. I mean, it's, as a customer, as a homeowner, you get it and you're like, wow, this is really slick.
Yep.
It provides more trust and it gives that customer a better experience. But a good franchisor should be leveraging technology, because that's where the world's going. If they're not leveraging any type of technology, they're going to be a little bit behind the 8 ball.
Well, so real quick on that, with regards to your business, I mean, this is example is for roofing. I love that, right? We have less people seemingly climbing up on roofs and walking around, which is going to make the employees and the owner a little bit more comfortable. I would think it would make your customer more comfortable, but now you've got documented material to show the insurance company to get these claims through quickly, right? We're just increasing the flow of business.
Well, yeah, because the typical process is you get on the house with a big piece of chalk and you mark up the whole house and it doesn't come off until it rains.
Yeah.
And then you got people jumping around the house, et cetera. But it is the measurement of the roof itself is tremendous because there's no human error. It's 99.7% accurate.
Wow.
So you have no wasted materials. But as a homeowner, I mean, you can see an exposed nail, hail damage. You can see where there's more granular loss. And there's a lot of, and roofing in our business, it's the least trusted home service industry. So how do we provide more trust to that customer?
Sure.
It's, hey, we take the human part out of it and we use a computer generated report that shows you what's wrong.
Proof and documentation. Very smart. It's a great example of how to use technology to advance a business.
This is the one that's important to me. And this is the bonus round. So I was a franchisee. I grew quickly. I felt that I was talented, but I was young. I didn't have a lot of business experience. And I've done over 1,000 placements to date in franchising. And I would say 75% or more are first-time business owners.
Yeah.
So you can be in the corporate world your entire life. That is not the same as running a business. There's obviously skill sets that go back and forth, but when you launch that business, I mean, there's times where you're going to be the dishwasher, the cook, the hostess, the cleanup crew. I mean, the server, everybody.
Yeah.
And you want to be as good as entrepreneur as you can. So a good franchisor, or say a typical franchisor, is going to give you a 250-page operations manual that you're not going to read. And they're going to teach you really a lot about that industry, but they typically don't give you any support to how to be a better business owner or improve as an entrepreneur, person, or leader. And that's, again, that starts from the top down. So we do that at the top here. We're in peer groups. We have Josh and I have a business coaches. We follow the traction process, which is a business philosophy that helps manage businesses. And we push that all the way down from us to our team in different businesses, all the way down to the franchisees and their businesses. But as a business owner, if you're not constantly improving, you are eventually going to fail.
Yep.
And so that's where we try to put in programs that teach you about how to allocate tax liability and how to leverage depreciation and provide benefits the correct way, or sales training support outside of our industry and just in general. We have weekly calls where we do a lot of development aspect type of programs, but a good franchisor from a culture standpoint should be developing themselves and their team. And that is absolutely going to bleed down to the franchisee level. So a great franchisor, and this is, again, hits me personally, does that for themselves, their team, as well as the franchisees and their teams. And that's something that if you can find a brand that has all five of those, I mean, I think that's where you'll find success.
Yeah. Excellent points, Zach. Really, my big walkaway ties to all the points that you've made, which is, it's one thing to find a franchisor that can market and sell and drive revenue, right? It's a completely different thing to find a franchisor that cares about you and your growth as a business owner, as a business person, and your profitability. And so when you're investigating these brands and going through this process, find exactly what Zach has described here, someone that cares about your ability to grow and scale, but that you're profitable, that you're making money for you and your family. You're getting a return on your investment. Zach, thank you very much. That was a wonderful overview of those key points of what to look for when looking at emerging brands. Thank you so much for your time today. I always appreciate seeing you.
No, absolutely. Can't wait to meet in person again.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.